right, welcome back, everyone. Back with another pod. The boys are ready to continue this journey of Canadian teams with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And although Donnie and myself are massive Habs fans, we promise to only let our bias affect maybe 60% of this podcast. Donnie, what do you think?
Maybe
60%?
65.
I can see your profile picture is already going strong. Um, Make sure everyone go follow the Rink on Instagram. It's at @the_Rink31, or just scan the QR code there if you're watching on YouTube, which has all the links to our socials. All likes and downloads are always greatly appreciated. And we're gonna jump right in here to a team that not a lot of us actually. I mean, Jordan, do you like the Maple Leafs?
Indifferent.
Indifferent. Indifferent? You mean fuck? Jesus.
No, I mean
Johnny,
what
what do you think?
Hey.
There it is.
Um,
Yeah,
I dislike the Leafs less than I used to.
that's fair. Who do you like? Who do you hate more? Out of just curiosity.
uh,
Now,
I hate
rivalry wise for Montreal.
I hate the national media and how they treat the
Ottawa.
Toronto Maple Leafs, but I wouldn't
That's
say I hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. I still
That's
have a distaste for Boston just with the history there, and I think anytime the Habs play them in the playoffs, that'll come out
Yeah.
the blood there. But
Isn't
I
it
think I
hard
might
to,
hate. Good.
Isn't it hard to hate a team when your team's good and they're not?
Nah, it's not. It's easier.
Yes.
No, it's
Because
easier.
like as a Flames fan, it's hard for me to hate the Oilers when we suck and they're good. Like,
That's
obviously,
fair.
you guys
That's
are
fair.
like Dante, if the
well,
Leafs ever win a cup, like they might jump right to the top of my list again with the media.
Oh,
shitstorm
100%.
that
I
we'll
think
get,
I think
but-
Tampa Bay's higher than me for me right now.
Yeah.
I think I think I dislike Tampa Bay more.
out of season Toronto's not as bad, but give that first week, media.
First
then,
week, bro. As soon
then
as
they'll fall
training
right
camp
under it.
starts, it's gonna be. Will the Toronto Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup this year? Like, get
We'll talk
Okay,
about it.
let's take those glasses
Stay
off and
tuned
look
here.
at this from an unbiased approach here, boys. Here we
well.
go.
Let's not. To start this off, we're gonna talk about obviously how they were hand gifted. Once again, the corrupt NHL takes effect. No, I'm just kidding. They were gifted McKenna. They got the first overall pick here. The big news in Toronto is the McGavin McKenna era begins. I kind of laugh too. I feel bad for Matthews, as clearly everyone doesn't give a flying fuck about him anymore. It's all about McKenna everywhere in Toronto. We're gonna start off pretty simple here. There's the two big questions around, and like Donnie says, we'll try to be as unbiased as possible. Jordan, we'll start with you here.
And Paul's
Uh,
with
yeah, I'm an unhinged man, and I will remain unhinged. Where does McKenna play in your opinion, Jordan? Is it a top six or a bottom six? And if it is a top six, do you think he actually has an impact, or is he gonna struggle?
You're not bringing him out of school to be in your bottom six. Like it's definitely going to be a top six, and I would assume probably on that top line between on the wing from Matthews and probably Knies, right? Like put Nylander back with Tavares on that second line and see how it
Easton
goes.
Cowan.
It's kind of your new Marner, right? That's kind of my feeling to it.
No, I agree,
Yeah.
Johnny.
I think like anytime you're bringing this young of a player into the NHL, there's going to be your learning curve and bumps that you're going to have to kind
100%.
of come through. Um,
No, we lose Donnie there for a second.
I think they keep.
There we go.
Are you good?
Donnie, you froze for a second.
Oh,
Go
did
ahead.
I?
Start
Am
again.
I good now?
Yeah, you froze for a second. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I think he starts on a line with Tavares and Nylander, and then you keep Knies and Matthews together, and you try to fill that top line winger spot with either Jack Roslovic, who's shown to be pretty dynamic on his time with Edmonton, moving up and down the lineup, can contribute, or if you think Easton Cowan is ready to pitch in there. The Leafs do have some really good options with young wingers coming in that top six as well. The one thing I'm hesitant to say right now is if he gets top power play time out of the gun here to start the year. Like you have your Darren Radish acquisition. He's obviously going to run that top unit. You have your Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, Knies, kind of top four forwards locked
Yeah.
in. So McKenna
I don't-
might start as that odd man out, but
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. Like I think he probably isn't on that first unit, but if that unit starts to struggle early, there's going to be a
Tavares
lot
is
of
gone.
talk
100%.
up there.
Yeah, like out of respect for Tavares, he's your vet. He's got to see, yeah, he's staying on that top unit, and you're not putting McKenna in there yet. Plus, the other thing I was going to ask you guys, like, if McKenna struggles out of the gate here, which I mean, most young players do. That being said, he does have a tremendous amount of skill, and he's going to be playing with very skilled players. if he struggles, do you think Toronto just sticks with it for the whole season, lets him go through the growing pains up there, or do we see, like Donnie, like you mentioned, do we see them pulling McKenna back and giving Roslovic, who's a pretty, like that's where I thought about Roslovic with his signing. He's a pretty safe bet to punch in on any line if you're struggling. So do you think that they do that, or do you think they just let McKenna roll with it? If he struggles, he struggles.
I think
And
you have to roll with it. Like the first year, he might, I don't know, maybe with line combinations and chemistry, he might see time on the third line. Nothing lower than that, I think, at some point. But yeah, you have to give him a full season, let him get his feet wet. He still has a ton of filling out to do to be physically capable in the NHL. Like I think he's
yeah,
what is he, 5'10", 170 right now,
he's
around
a
that.
smaller player. Yeah,
Smaller winger. Obviously, we talk about the skill, the foot speed, everything else. He's going to have to find a way to create open ice, kind of a la Mitch Marner and what he was able to do in the NHL. But I think the McKenna learning curve is going to be a little bit more steep than what Leafs fans might be expecting with the first overall pick.
I
Dante, we
agree.
talked about it when the Habs had Slavkovsky, right? There's years where the first overall pick is bona fide, a la Celebrini, McDavid, Connor Bedard to an extent. Or there's years where you're kind of looking and you're like, okay, which player do we think can fit our situation the best and might not be that franchise level generational talent, right? I think that McKenna is more closer to a Slavkovsky level as of now, maybe a little bit more dynamic long term if he can figure out in the NHL. But yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see.
I think with McKenna, you kind of saw it at college, right? It took him about half a year to kind of get his feet comfortable and footing there, and then he really took off the back half. I expect pretty much the exact same thing for his transition to the NHL, if not maybe a bit longer. Obviously, the jump to the NHL is pretty big, but like you're saying, I don't think they have a choice. Like if he
Yeah.
struggles, you're keeping them in your top six. You're not putting them down. You kind of look at who they have in that lineup, and they have a pretty solid designated top six players, and then pretty designated bottom six attitude. This is how we want our bottom six to play players, and I think putting McKenna down there just wouldn't really mesh with what they're trying to do with their third and fourth line.
Nope, that's fair. Um, Also, another big topic of conversation this offseason, I don't think it's much better, but some people do, is their defense, their blue line and their goaltender situation here in Toronto. Just to go over, John Chaika, sorry, came in and made some decent, pretty big changes that I don't think a lot of us really saw, too. Like, a lot of us thought, like, for example, Hildeby was going to be here for a long time, and he was out the door almost immediately. So before, like, you trade away Brandon Carlo for two-thirds round draft picks, which you have to view as a unfortunate fail. May not be his fault, but you gave up Fraser Minton a fourth and a first, which is now a 2028 unprotected first because this one got you McKenna. But
Actually, looking special.
you're basically trying to heal from that. You signed Darren Radish to an 8-year, $68 million deal, which some people may have thought was a little maybe too long in years based on Radish's age, whereas the back end of that contract might be a little more shaky. And then once again, you're adding older goaltender in Bobrovsky with a 3-year, $7 million deal each. You're trading away Joseph Woll. You got like the Emile Andre defender is a nice return for that, but basically you kind of dumped Woll and said you're running with Bobrovsky and Stolars. Donnie, we'll start with you there. Do you think that this is an improvement on their defensive core, or did they simply just make some changes and end up the exact same way they were previously, with maybe a slight improvement with Radish kind of thing?
Yeah, no, I think it was a pretty big improvement. Like the Brandon Carlo trade you talked about, Dante, I think that was more them just cutting their ties, getting whatever value they could back after making a terrible trade and acquiring him. Kind of understood why they acquired him at the time they were at with the playoff run, trying to acquire a big physical kind of shutdown defensive defender. Didn't work out. Fraser Minton's quickly becoming a stud in Boston. Talking about the picks that went the other way. I don't hate the Darren Radish signing. I think we talked about this in our free agent pod. I think
Yeah.
the first half of that deal is going to be excellent for
Fine.
Toronto.
Yeah.
He's going to be on that power play one unit, racking up power play points, has a bomb of a shot from the point. It's that back half that I think is really concerning here. But I think John Chayka, like overall, I hate to say this as a Habs fan, but you kind of have to give him credit for what he did coming in here and kind of going for it now in win now mode with what he has available to him. He
Yeah,
went in
like
No, I agree.
He went and acquired a player in Darren Radish who wanted to play in Toronto from Toronto. I think the Bob signing is the best goalie that was available to them at the market, even if it's overpaid and there's risk in his age and injury history. I think like we'll talk about the bottom 6 ads later, but like Chayka did a good job here. I will be out front in saying that.
He jumped in here and was, they were 1 year out from, taking Florida to the brink and then losing in the Cup final, right? So he said, "Okay, let's push all our chips in. We're gonna make the move on defense. We're gonna add the goalie we need, and really try and make this team a playoff team again, so that Matthews wants to stay around." Right? That's ultimately what the biggest goal is in Toronto. Keep him as long as possible. Hopefully, you can keep him for the rest of his career, right? And that's what you're making these moves for. I think Darren Radish, I'm not a huge fan of paying older players off of 1 year of success. It's very Darnell Nursey to me. Yeah. With that being said, I don't think he's the same player, but I'm very hesitant on those moves.
Yeah.
But what he brings is what Toronto needed. A big shot defenseman on the point, can do power play stuff, get shots through. That's been their biggest question mark because Morgan Riley's been running that thing for ever now, and he has no shot at the back end, so there's no threat back there, right?
Yeah.
So this actually brings another element to that power play. And then to Donnie's point, like Bobrovsky's by far the best goalie they should have got, and they went out, was aggressive and did it and gave him the contract that he wanted, and power to them. That was a good move.
Yeah. And
you guys are being nice.
Sorry, a good point you made there, Jordan, was the Matthews incentive, right? Like it almost felt like Chayka had to come in here and make these moves to show Austin that this is the direction we're going and we want to keep you here. We're not going to entertain you moving on. So yeah, if I was a Leafs fan, I wouldn't have a lot of gripe with the moves he's made to date.
No, you guys are being very nice about it, I'll put my glasses on here. I like some of these moves, but in reality, it stems on the fact that Ken Bobrovsky even played decent. He sucked in Florida at the end of his thing, okay? He wasn't good. I don't care what anyone says. The guy was not good. I don't care how many high danger shots he faced. He didn't do well. He's old.
He just had 2 seasons of cup runs, dude.
You're talking about last year specifically, or what?
Last year specifically. He did not look good. He had cup runs from a team that's built not like Toronto, though. Toronto is not. Do not compare the Florida Cup team to the Toronto Maple Leafs, the decor specifically. They do not have that decor. Those guys 8 shots. They box players out. They did a great job in front of Bob. I love Bob. He's a great goalie. But I think Toronto is looking for the playoff version of him, like you're mentioning, Jordan, the Stanley Cup version of him. I don't think that version. I don't think that version exists anymore. I think he's a very older goalie on the downhill of his career who is also got injury issues, and then your backup goalie also has injury issues, and your goalie that you could have had coming in, Hildbeast, is gone.
That Florida team stunk out loud last year. You can't put that on Bobrovsky.
Those
guys were burnt out.
I'm not putting it on Bobrovsky.
Cup runs and winning 2 of them.
But I'm not putting on Bobrovsky. That Florida team last year is more comparable to what Toronto actually is, though. Toronto does not have a decor that Florida had for the Stanley Cup wins that they had. It is not the same whatsoever.
Hopefully our viewers clip this take.
And if you're big acquisition, I like Radish, but Jordan, like you said, he had 1 good season on Tampa Bay where he's passing the puck to fucking Nikita Kucherov. I will put up 30 points playing with Nikita Kucherov on a power play.
Can't even skate, brother.
That's my exact point. Like I said, I do like these moves to them.
Matthews from Kucherov.
I mean, compared to not that big, but compared
shooting threat.
But I also think Kucherov has more of a as much as I don't like Kucherov, and I think he's a little pussy sometimes. His effort level is a little bit more than Matthews for me. When Matthews gets frustrated, the guy just gives up. He throws in the fucking towel immediately. I do not like Matthews' fight at all. Like I said, I do like these ads for them for a year or 2. Maybe if that, like I said, if Radish can even play the way he did last year, that's great. But I don't like the fact that listening to the media around this, thinking that this is now a Stanley Cup contender team all of a sudden. They're not. They're going to be a playoff team, I think, again. but I don't think they're a Stanley Cup playoff contender with that defensive core. You're like, we're gonna go into the next segment here. They're big hole. Like they still have Morgan Riley on this team. Like
They,
what
they
Riley is
also
gonna be a
one
hindrance on
thing
that.
one thing that we didn't mention, they made the wrong hire at head coach, right? Like that's a big thing too. Like I think
Yeah,
all three of
like
us kind of agree on that. Like
I
where
do,
they
yeah.
needed and probably wanted to be a little bit more offensive, and then they went and hired the guy. I can't even remember what his name is. That
Jim
came out
Miller.
of LA,
Yeah.
and he's not the right guy for this team and
No.
I think what this team should play like. But I think that's a pretty
When
big underlining factor too.
Like-
I looked it up. I looked it up when he was coach of LA. There, he had the worst offensive and defensive metrics in his time in LA
Yeah.
in the entire league. He was
And then
second in both.
you're giving him a decor. Like, don't get me wrong, they added like Emil Andre. I actually kind of like. It's not too bad of an ad, but he's a bottom line defenseman. You bring in Radish, you're hoping he can replicate the previous season. But Morgan Riley is still Morgan Riley. That guy's not boxing anybody out of your front of your net, and he's going to give up chances galore. Chris Tanev is a great defenseman. Don't get me wrong. He'll fight and
I love Tanev.
give all
Tanev's
his
great.
effort. I love Tanev, but
As a
he's
Flames
he's
fan,
not
I
gonna
love
help.
Tanev.
So do I,
But
but he's not gonna be able to cover for Morgan Riley the whole time.
He's
He
playing
can't do
47
both.
games this year. Like he plays
Exactly.
half the season, that's it.
Then you have Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who is older than dust now. He's completely fallen off from what he used to be. I still like him as a player, but he's not gonna body anyone out in front of a Bob. Is my point that I'm making. And then Jake McCabe, I like Jake McCabe. That's fine. But
Crap. Sorry, finish your point.
good. But that, like Tanev and McCabe, they're not going to be able to make up for the other blatant older holes that they have on this decor, which is why, and where you look at Bob, I agree, Jordan, that he had a great 2 Stanley Cups there, but he had a much different team in front of him, a way more complete, a way more skilled and bigger team in front of him. Where you view his last season, I don't blame Bob for last season, but it exposed the fact that when you don't have those big guys out front of him, there's some shots he's letting in that he shouldn't let in. Like he didn't completely suck last year, but he didn't steal a game like Toronto kind of needs you to do in playoffs, which they have never had. Well, I mean, there's that for him.
Yeah, let me jump in here quick. I think
Jordan or Donnie, go. Yeah.
I think I uncovered why the Leafs hired Jim Miller here.
Oh,
So,
here we go.
Last 3 seasons coaching LA as the head coach, he made the playoffs in all 3, lost in the first round in all 3.
Oh, there he is. There's the reason why he's in there.
Leafs.
The Leafs.
They
Name me a
picked
more
what they want.
iconic duo than the first round exit in the Toronto Maple Leafs. There isn't.
It
one,
just felt like such a safe hire, right? There were other coaches that were on the market at the time. We talked about the Bruce Cassidy interviews, etc., that we thought could come in here and unlock the Leafs' offensive potential, and this just feels like a major belly flop in terms of a hire, right?
Do you guys think that they can move Morgan Riley's contract? Like he submitted a 4-team Western, or his agent or whoever the fuck it is, submitted a 4-team Western list, so we can all guess who it is. Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota, maybe another top contending team, right? Basically, teams that can't afford it. Dallas teams that can't afford his salary. Can they move him out? And if they do, will they be able to get rid of the full contract or partial contract? What do you think they can do with this? Jordan, go ahead.
The thing with Riley is, in the role that he probably should be playing for them this year, he's actually not a horrible defenseman. He's just making a lot of money, right? Like they probably have him slotted better this year than in years past.
Well, yeah,
And
you have
if they
Radish
take-
now, right?
If this decor is slightly better than last year's, if he comes out of this lineup, they're worse than last year's, right? Like that's the biggest thing. I know there's a money issue and you're paying him a lot of money, but I don't know who's taking that on without you eating a bunch of it. And then if you eat a bunch of it, you're not going to be able to go and fill that hole before the season, during the season, at the deadline, regardless, right? If you're eating that money. So I think you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when this news came out alongside the Darnell Nurse news, like people kind of wrote them both off in the same boat. 2 over-the-hill veteran players, large contracts. We kind of assumed the teams would have to attach a draft pick to get rid of those contracts. Darnell Nurse obviously had the size, physicality portion of it that the Oilers very clearly were able to sell teams on, and where teams were actually looking at giving up assets for. They got a former first-round pick prospect back for him from the Sharks. I don't see that in a Riley trade. Riley is
Nope.
he's a pretty good defender, can still contribute offensively. The foot speed's no longer there. Like, you can't run a power play one anymore. And where we're at in the offseason, to Jordan's point, I think if they're at the point where, hey, we found a replacement for him in our lineup, and we have to attach a draft pick to him for someone to take on his contract, I think that would be best case for next scenario for the Leafs in a trade right now. Or, to Jordan's point, it doesn't look like there's anything on the free agent market or anything in the trade rumors as of now that the Leafs are going to be able to upgrade that D slot on. Maybe they ride it back and just give it one more year here, see how he comes back in this new role.
I think that's probably the safest bet.
Right off into the sunset situation, right?
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Quickly, the other team that I wonder about, like, being from Vancouver, is there an opportunity for him to send him to the Canucks? Kind of,
that's a team with the money that would.
A la Brendan
Gallagher, money that'll do it.
And the Habs, right? Something like that.
Yeah, that's the only team I can maybe think of that does something. But what do you guys think this August 19th press conference is about? He's got a scheduled media appearance after being quiet all summer long, and he is scheduled today, August 18th or August 19th. He's coming out and talking to the media. Some people, I'm just saying some of the rumors that I've read here. A couple of rumors. One, he's announcing a retirement, medical retirement for a major surgery or something like that. There's been rumors on HF Boards and Reddit the whole season. A lot of people have sent pictures, actually, if you look on Reddit, of him sitting in the hospital after major surgery was done.
So
some
Morgan
people
Riley has his own press conference scheduled?
Yeah.
Just him?
As far as I don't know if it's just him, but he's scheduled for a media appearance on August 19th. I don't know if it's just. I don't know if it's a press conference for him. They just have it as he's doing a media appearance on August 19th. It could be a bunch of stuff, but he is speaking for the first time out of all summer, basically.
I mean, to me, that it kind of points at one of two things, right? One, like you said, is a retirement option, medical.
Or he's saying he's committed. Or he's saying he's committed to this team.
I'm staying. The other one I'm thinking is like a charity thing that he's starting up.
Or
go for it, Donnie.
It's an exclusive sit down with Sportsnet just to tell them how his summer's going, and we'll get about 10 to 15 Sportsnet articles talking about it. Which that's
you could do it with the Rink.
You know what? That's more realistic. Yeah. That's more realistic right there. He's probably coming in to do a full interview. But anyway, I was just curious. I saw that little snippet. I thought it was curious based off of all the trade speculation around him. Even if you ask a Toronto fan, they all love the guy. He's been there a long time, but they're definitely okay with moving on from him at this point in time because of his contract. But who knows what it's about?
Yeah, and if he retires,
before we get into the bottom six here,
right?
But
if he retires, he forfeits the rest of
unless he medically retires, though. I thought.
Yeah. So
is a medical retirement different though?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but I don't see him retiring yet. I think he plays another year here and
medically retired. Right?
Like, I'm wondering if this is a Carey Price. I was wondering if this is a Carey Price situation where he's gonna finish out his Shea Weber. He's gonna finish out his contract, get paid for everything, but never play again, sit on LTIR, not count towards cap, all that kind of stuff, right? I'm curious if that's what it is. Before we get into the bottom six here, if we're going to do a quick little ad break for our sponsors, DraftKings, where you can completely use them to bet about how good Toronto's going to be next year, which is probably not good at all.
It all comes down to this, a best-of-7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series, all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with code THPN. Spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, that text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings. Predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks, expire in 1 year. Team 1 non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
All right, boys. Let's continue here. We kind of talked about a little bit about the bottom six. Donnie mentioned we talked about how good Chaika did. I think this bottom six was probably one of the best highlights of John Chaika's summer so far. They completely reshaped it. They did a lot of signings here. I'll go through them all quickly, and then I'll go through a couple questions with you guys. They signed Colton Sissons, 2 years, 4.25 annual average. Jack Roslovic, another 2 year deal, four per season. Brandon Duhaime, 3 years at 2.6 per season. Teddy Bluger, 2 years, 2.5 per season. Then they also traded for Nick Paul from Tampa. That's that Hill to be trade that I was talking about before. This is a complete rehaul of their bottom six, which we all know how terrible it was last year. To the point of this, these are also guys that are all multi-year deals. Like Donnie mentioned to briefly before here, this team stays the same next season. They're all on contract. They're all coming back next year. So this isn't a one and done situation. This is a couple years. A couple years exactly. For example, like Sissons and Roslovic and Bluger and those guys. This is a very more complete bottom six that's got some good depth, hard nose. Like, do you guys think, like, it's a lot of signings, obviously. Donnie, I'm going to start with you here. Do you like these moves, or do you think this is a bunch of random signings and you're hoping something sticks with your bottom six, or do you think this is more of a calculated? I'm plucking in certain players here and there. For example, Roslovic, where he can kind of jump all over the place.
Yeah, I think when these signings were announced on free agency day, it felt like a complete mixed bag of crap being thrown together. You heard about these were kind of the middle of the pack free agents, not the top guys, but other teams were looking at it, and then it just felt like every 10 minutes there was an announcement. This guy's signing with the Leafs, and it felt like other teams couldn't catch a break here. But specifically, I love the Jack Roslovic signing. You get 2 years out of him, 4 million AAV is affordable. That's a guy that can plug, like we talk about the whole potentially on that top line or second line, depending on where McKenna plays. That's a guy that can plug into that location right away. If Easton Cowan, if you don't think he's ready to plug in there, Brandon Duhaime, that guy's just an energizer bunny, man. Doesn't stop,
I
motor,
love him.
24/7 type player. I actually wanted the Habs to get him. That was one guy that
He's
I
a
was
great
fine
ad.
with Kent Hughes going after. So that was a really good one for them. And then I also love that Nick Paul trade. They gave up Hill to be, like you're saying, Dante, who's a little bit of a prospect but upside goaltender, a few middle draft picks. But you get a player with size and experience and Stanley Cup pedigree that can come in here and immediately kind of play in your middle six wing, probably third line to start, would be my thought. I don't really hate any of these additions, though.
Jordan?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they had a plan this offseason, and this kind of goes back to what Chaika was doing with the players he kind of pinpointed, like, hey, we want this guy. They had a plan with this bottom six. We are going to get some identity here in the bottom six. We're going to be hard to play against. We're going to go rub bodies. We're going to, just kind of play a little bit of maybe a little bit more old school hockey, kind of what you see from the Florida Panthers a little bit, with kind of mean guys in your bottom six that'll go and throw the body weight around and stuff like that. I think they tried to approach it that way and added those guys. Roslovic, I think, is obviously the key signing for the six because he can play up and down that lineup. You can play him on your first line while Domi's hurt and stuff, or all the way down into your fourth line if you want to get them going. The biggest thing to me is this looks good right now. How healthy is this team going to be? Because as soon as they lose someone from this bottom six, there's no one to replace it because they spent all this money on these guys. And then your next wave is just going to be whoever you had in the AHL last year who wasn't even good enough to make your crap team last year. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think the way I look at this too, I do like this bottom six, like you guys kind of mentioned with the players they've kind of put it. It's always a question: can the players actually play together? Will they gel? What's the system the coach plays? Donnie kind of mentioned the coach prior. He's not exactly got the best metrics for it. But the way I look at this, and we'll kind of look towards their season outlook now, boys. I think this is even the contracts here. Bluger 2 years, Roslovic 2 years, Sissons 2 years, Matthews, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 years left. This is like their 2 year window here. It looks like it sounds like it's the make or break it chance here for Austin Matthews. It's either they do something here, and I don't even know like what's your guys' opinions on what you need to keep Matthews here. Is it actually win a Stanley Cup, or is it get past like Donnie's like the first second round? You know what I mean? Like what's an actual way to try to convince Matthews to stay here, or what does it look like in your guys' opinion for Toronto's final chance with Matthews?
I think if the Leafs get back into the playoffs, and put a good series together, maybe win a round, he's staying. I honestly think he likes Toronto. I think he enjoys being the captain of a big city team, getting a lot of attention. I actually think he likes that as much as it's kind of played like he might not. I think they have made these moves saying, okay, we're going to go all in for these 2 years to try and convince him this is the place you want to be. Stay here, stay with us. And then if he's like, I'm not feeling it, I'm leaving, all these guys come off the books and then you full rebuild, right? You full send into that rebuild.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what's tough with the Leafs is they're in a state right now where you don't really like. McKenna was a gift on a platter, right? We talk about the luck with that lottery draft, but you don't really have anything else coming. Like it's not like you can look forward to a
Cupboards are
Michael
bare.
H, Alexander Zarovsky, Dante. We're talking about the Habs waiting for those guys to fill in their last few holes. It's like this is it. You're trying to fill these holes in free agency acquisitions. We did talk about there was a little bit of rumors with the Leafs with Zach Werenski in the offseason. With Columbus, him not being happy there and potentially looking at a move, could have been a kind of a reunion duo with him and Matthews there in Toronto. That could have been a very interesting fit. But to your point, like this almost gives me deja vu to our Edmonton podcast there, Dante. We're talking about a superstar player potentially leaving a Canadian city, and what does this team need to do to keep them? It's kind of sad that we're at that state with the Canadian markets and where we're going nowadays with taxes, non-tax states, competition, etc. But yeah, to your point, Jordan, I think Matthews is cut out for the Toronto media. We talk about it being one of the hardest places in the NHL to play. As far as pressure cooker and player standpoint. And yeah, I think he just needs to see some morsel of success. That's 1 round, 2 rounds. He's starting to see it, even if you get like a huge season from McKenna where he sees the potential of teaming up with him and McKenna potentially becoming his Marner kind of running mate. That could also be a very big factor. I think he signs another contract in Toronto. That's kind of just my prediction.
There's also like you mentioned for some rumors on trade possibilities. The other big one right now is with actually Jordan. You can chime in on this. Is with Calgary. Morgan Frost is being looked at by the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think if you look at Morgan Frost right now in Calgary and you take him over to Toronto, he's actually exactly the type of depth centerman they kind of need. Either that he can play in the second or third line, depending what you do with Tavares. He can kind of go anywhere. Actually, it's a pretty perfect fit in my opinion. But what does that trade look like, Jordan? I'm gonna go to you because this is your team. What does that trade look like? And can Toronto even afford to do said trade? Like, would it, with Calgary being on the rebuild, do you think that's going to be your Morgan Riley salary cap kind of switch off with Calgary? What do you think?
So Calgary, I think they've done a great job of making trades where they take back an NHL player that they can then again flip later down for more assets. If they're moving Frost, who's actually a young center, and I think it's kind of back and forth on if they want to actually keep him around long term or not. High skill guy, definitely can be a top 6 centerman, I think, in this league as long as he kind of brings up his face-off percentage. Would be a great ad for Toronto, right? Lets you bump Tavares to a third line center and how deep that would end up being. But the thing is, like, there's no one on this roster that Calgary's taken back that they're going to be able to flip. Like if Morgan Riley's part of that trade, when are you flipping him? There's 4 years left on his deal. At that point, Calgary's probably wants to be competitive, and he doesn't add into that in 4 years' time, and you're not going to trade him for any kind of upside. So it would have to be pretty heavy prospect and draft pick, I think, compensation. The biggest problem with that, though, is Toronto right now is $2.75 million over cap. So where are they getting this extra cap room to add a guy from? I just don't know.
Gary Bettman will step in. He'll fix it.
Yeah, I don't think that that has Max Domi on IR yet, so I think
Nope.
with him on IR.
Yeah,
that would
when
be
Domi goes to IR, they actually have some cap space
But-
available, I think, or something.
Yeah, that would be an ice cold addition for the Leafs. You guys get it, Morgan Frost, ice cold.
Stone
That would
Cold,
be
yeah.
That's
yeah.
so good.
Yeah. No, Jordan would like. How about like a? I just think about like an Oliver Ekman-Larsson or even a Chris Tanev back to Calgary. Like if those are pieces that the Leafs are looking to move off of. Or
I think you can flip.
Cowan, right?
I
I
can see
honestly,
Larson, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of them in Calgary on defense already. So
Yeah.
to me, it'd be a
Yeah.
forward, but they just added all these forwards. Like who are they? Not
I-
going to trade a guy they just signed?
like Frost is 27, so I get it. Like he's kind of in that weird gap with does he stay with the team or they go
Yeah.
full rebuild kind of thing.
He's an
But
awkward
I
age.
honestly think I actually don't mind. I think Calgary should go for the Riley. I think you get Toronto to retain on Riley already, and then when Calgary moves to flip him, you retain on Morgan Riley again. He's going to be a next to nothing player then for your cap space and a Stanley Cup contending team. Like let's for example the Tampa Bay Lightning, or Florida, or Colorado. Like you guys mentioned earlier, if Riley's played in the right role, he's very effective. If you can get Calgary, or if you can get Toronto to take some salary back, you get Calgary to take some salary back, and you're now making that guy a very cap friendly player. I think you can get a decent asset back for him actually, especially from a
Or-
team that doesn't really need him.
Or in the offseason, we did hear a lot of rumors about Matthew Knies out of the blue, which didn't make sense to anybody.
No, yeah.
but
that's true.
are there multiple pieces from Calgary that could fit a Matthew Knies trade?
You
Look
put
at
you put
Morgan
Hubert
Frost.
you give Huberto over there to them?
Not Huberto, but
Huberto and Morgan Riley are about the same. Like you're having to give
Offsetting calorie.
yeah, like you'd be looking at Frost, Farabee, maybe a Zach Whitecloud. Like there's multiple pieces moving here, which would be kind of
It's a possibility. To wrap this up, boys, I'm gonna get you guys to do three things here.
You think Cowan for Frost be? You think Toronto will be interested?
think
in
so.
that?
I think so, but then why? Like I go back to Toronto. Why are you trading Knies? Why would you trade Easton Cowan?
Well,
you don't have like it makes no sense on Toronto side. Which you know what, as a Habs fan, go right ahead, fucking trade him. I don't care.
I think-
Make yourself worse for some reason. Like
I think
I just don't
think
understand.
the Leafs are giving Easton Cowan a real shot this year. They're going to
Yeah, I
put him in
think
the
so
right
too.
opportunities, power play 2.
I like
top
Cowan. I
six
think he's
wing
gonna.
position,
I
and
think
they're
he's
gonna
gonna be a
see
good
what kind
player.
of player they really have before they make it.
He's a guy like if they traded Frost and we got him back, I'd be pretty happy with it, right? Like
100%, you would. It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade for Calgary, in my opinion. I really like Cowan. All right, let's wrap. We're gonna wrap this up, boys. I'm gonna give you guys three things each of you, okay, to wrap this up. I want you to do. Does Toronto make the playoffs with this roster? Yes or no? Give me a rating of their offseason out of 10, and then a final thought from you. Jordan, we're gonna go with you first.
I think they definitely compete for a playoff spot and probably get into one of those wildcard spots with this team. I like what they've done, so that's a yes. Their off-season grade with all their ads and everything, I'd actually give a B+ to. I've been pretty happy with it. Honestly, if they
Bro, we
hired
said
a
out
different
of
coach,
10.
it would be a higher.
1 out of 10, Jordan. B+.
B+ out of 10.
Wow.
All right, we'll go back to
8.5?
grading scale.
What-
We'll go normal grading. Yeah, okay.
Johnny, you're the smart person. What's the B+?
8 and a
Well,
half.
I think.
8.5.
8.5. Yeah, okay. We'll go to grading, normal
So
grading.
8
All
and a
right,
half?
give it. Yeah.
It would have been higher if they hired the right coach. That's my thought. It's just
Yeah,
the
that's fair.
coach I think is going to hold them back.
What's your any final thought, bro?
Final thought is the coach is going to hold them back. He's
All right.
actually the linchpin that I think they missed the mark on. And I think it's going to hurt them ultimately.
Fair. Donnie,
Um,
unbiased ranking.
I also think they make the playoffs. I think Atlantic. We talk about this Dante as the Habs fans, but Atlantic's going to be an absolute dogfight once again, man. Like you have Ottawa, Boston. I think Boston takes a step back. I think Ottawa potentially takes a step back. We talked about on the Ottawa pod how we liked Eklund for Kachuk, kind of what they did fill in the holes. Florida is going to jump right back up there with the health. Barkov back, Brady Kachuk edition. That's going to be a dogfight of division, but I do think
It's gonna be a
Toronto
nightmare.
slips into that first wild card slot is my current projection for them. I also think Buffalo potentially falls back a little bit this year. I'll give them a 7.5 out of 10 in the offseason. Like we kind of talked about, I think they did the best with what they realistically could. We talked about that rumored Matthew Nyes trade. I think they lose any Nyes trade up front if they would have pulled the trigger on that.
100%.
They did a pretty good job of addressing the other holes and got the best goalie available. It'll be exciting to see how they start out the year. I think this is, if you look at teams that need an absolutely hot start to start the season, I think Toronto's right at the top of that list in terms of the NHL.
100%.
They need to come out there and play their best hockey, find chemistry right away. If they start off the first quarter of the season really struggling and not finding chemistry with these new additions, it could go completely off the rails really quickly here, right? And we're talking about another kind of Matthews decision in the next offseason. And final
to
thoughts.
Your point, Donnie, if after 20 games that they have a losing record, this year they might be trading Matthews.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Do you think a Matthews trade happens in season?
No
shot, right? Like we're talking about.
No, that's hard. It's hard
right?
to pull off, but I mean, if someone comes with the right asking price, maybe. But there'd be a lot that has to go on there to make it the right trade, right? Like, it's very much more of an off-season trade than in-season trade for sure.
Agreed. And then just final thought. I just want to bring attention to my background here, but we appreciate the Leafs since COVID. We appreciate social distancing here on the podcast, and they have been mindful of social distancing since 1967. So hopefully that continues.
The only distancing I appreciate. Good job, Toronto. Keep it up.
Those listening on a podcast, it's the Leafs socially distancing from the cup, just so you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For those that can't see, what the background is, and you know what? If you can't see what the background is, go on YouTube. Screw you.
YouTube, take a look.
Yes. Don't be lame. My thing's Toronto. Do they make the playoffs? Yes. I think they do, even though I want to say no, but it's going to be very tough for them. But I think they do. Well, the easy first round exit for the Leafs again. If I had to rate their offseason, I'm going to go right in the middle of both of you guys. I'm going to give them an 8. I do like the ads they did. As much as I think that the ads they make could easily collapse in a second with this team with injuries or performances, I still like it on paper as of right now. My final thought, bold prediction. I don't think they trade Matthews this season. I think Matthews is going to be used as the star player for the next franchise expansion. I think he gets traded to the expansion team, whether it's Houston or Atlanta or what they're saying now is both, one after another, 2 years in a row. I think Matthews gets traded to one of those teams for a huge draft pick haul, and he's the new face of a franchise out there. That's my bold prediction.
Atlanta is definitely going to work this time. Third time's a charm out there.
If not, hey, they'll relocate to Arizona. If they don't, they relocate to Arizona, and he'll be at his hometown. It's perfect for him.
Quick question for you guys. If I put the line, Austin Matthews, goals for the season, 45, over or under?
Under.
Slightly over, 46.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much right about where
I don't think he hits 50. I think it's...
No, I don't think so either, but I think he'll be in the between 40 and 50. So
only reason why I'm going under, just for... I think Matthews is going to turn into more, especially if McKenna is playing with him. I think he's going to turn more to a distributor and a good two-way center. I think by the way, I'll give some flowers where they're due. He's turned into a very excellent defensive player. I think that needs to be said. Yes. A lot of people don't give him the credit he deserves. He's very intelligent and very good on the back end.
Yeah, and I think we just have to appreciate him giving the crown to the Cole Caulfield for best American goal scorer in the league. So
yeah, but hey, we'll keep him off the Olympic team forever though.
Yeah,
all right, boys.
Too small.
Thanks for joining the pod. Our next pod is going to be Jordan's favorite team, the Calgary Flames. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe, download, whatever the heck you want to do. We appreciate all of it, and thanks for joining.
DC signing off.
Peace.